I like that. That's great. It's like it's always like, all right. It's actually not as bad as I thought. That's nice.
All right, are we ready?
Like a production to do it, actually.
Good evening. It's December the 18th, 2017, and I'd like to call the meeting of the Newmarket Municipal Budget Committee and the public hearing on the fiscal year 2018-2019 town budget to order. If we could begin, as always, with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. The first item we had on the agenda tonight under old business was the approval of the December 11th, 2017 meeting minutes. Those did not come out until relatively late today. I'm confident nobody had a lot of time to look at them, so we're just going to put that off until the January 8th meeting, and we'll try to approve the minutes of both that meeting and this meeting. So we move right along to the first order of new business, which is the public hearing on the town's 2018-2019 operating budget. Mr. Town Administrator, I believe you have a presentation, so please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Budget Committee. This is going to look very familiar. Sorry, a couple weeks ago. But for the public, this is the proposed operating budget for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2019. Just for information, the current tax rate is 26.73. The portion that we're discussing today is the 23%, which is the town. It's usually average for what the town portion of the tax.
Sir, do you want to check to see if the mic is on?
Sure.
Is there a power switch to it?
There is not.
Okay. This might be just...
Okay. And this is just a 5-year comparison of the tax rate. As you can see, town's been pretty level from 2013 to 2017. Had two little increases in 14 and 16, but it's pretty much remained about the same. Big portion of the budget is also what the assessed valuation of the town. Why that's important is when everybody discusses the tax rate, they usually say, well, how much is it increasing? Well, for every dollar of the tax rate, we can raise $757,803 because the assessed valuation of the town total is $757,803,033, which was a pretty significant increase over the last year. Just for everybody's information, next year will be our statistical update. So every 5 years, we have to update the values of the homes. We're at about 80% right now, so we're well off for our property values. The Town Council is recommending a budget of $12,042,731, or an increase of 4.57%. Most of that is going to the general fund, which is $525,933. The enterprise funds are seeing a reduction of $52,768, and all other funds is seeing an increase of the $621,101. Again, this is the general fund is $7,662,607. Special revenues are $1,155,086, and the enterprise funds, which is water and sewer and does not have an impact on the tax rate, is $3,267,438. Where's the increase going? $54,000 for new financial software lease, $27,130 to software maintenance in the operating of 2 systems, $45,000 to sidewalk construction, $75,000 is a new operational repair line, $19,000 is solid waste increase contract, and $38,000 is recycling contract increase. The council is increasing the amount to be contributed to capital reserve funds as well. Capital reserve funds are like savings accounts. We put money aside and we're allowed to withdraw from them to do different projects. They are putting $100,000 in the Public Works Capital Reserve Fund, $250,000 in the Buildings Improvements Capital Reserve Fund, $260,000 in the Roadway Improvement Capital Reserve Fund, $50,000 in Stormwater Management, $50,000 in McAllen Dam Fund, $50,000 in the Fire Department Equipment Fund, $26,000 in police vehicles, and $10,000 in police dispatch. The Veterans Memorial Trust is having $2,000 contribute to it. There is no money going in for revaluation. We had money there in the past. However, a new contract with our assessors, we're able to include that in the contract. So we're going to actually be withdrawing those funds for a different project. The master plan update, we're adding $10,000. The 300th anniversary celebration expendable trust is $2,000. Library is $10,400 for capital reserve. Recreation facilities is $15,000 for a total of $810,400. And some of the projects that they plan on doing this year, according to the capital improvement plan, is withdrawing $146,000 for the public works equipment for a new dump truck and $160,000 for a sweeper. Facilities, we're seeing security upgrades of $15,200. Repair the Tiger Hose Company fire station for $21,500. Facade work to this building for $38,600. And the town hall furnace replacement for $89,750. Radios are going to be improved at the fire department for $45,000. A new cruiser will be purchased for $45,000 and a base radio for $20,000 for a total of $1,052,100 worth of projects this year. The other portion that we need to consider is the revenue, because this is the monies that are not raised through taxation that we generate mainly from motor vehicle registrations that offsets our expenditures. We're anticipating a total revenue budget of $7,427,656. The reason why that's an increase over what I was projecting is we're had a healthier fund balance at the end of the year, and we're able to withdraw some additional funds to go in the capital reserve funds. So the next slide is an estimate only using data that as we have today, and it's the tax impact. The estimated tax rate would be $6.33 per thousand if the town council budget passes. So the average home was $280,000 in town currently. The current town portion of the tax bill is $1,727 annually. And proposed it would be $1,772 or a $45 increase annually on their tax bill. The default budget, if the budget fails, the default budget will be $11,632,790, $409,941 less than proposed, and $115,991 higher than the fiscal year 18 budget. Most of the funds that that would be removed is for contribution to capital reserve funds that the council decided, and the increase is due to contractual obligations. The next is the only question we have on the ballot so far, and that's the police contract. It's a 5-year deal. It's a 13-cent impact in year 1. It includes a $200.25 flat increase in years 1 and 2, and a 3% increase for the police officers in years 3, 4, and 5. The first year's impact in second year is $98,003, and in year 3 is $34,562, $35,599, and then $36,667. The police chief is asked to address the committee and the public to discuss some of the importance of this agreement, so I'd ask the chief to come up now to discuss it.
Good evening. Good evening. For those of you who I have not met, my name is Kyle True, and I'm your police chief. I've been the chief for about 18 months now, and thoroughly enjoying it. I've been here for 21, close to 22 years, and worked my way up through the ranks, and here I stand before you. So why is this contract important? Retention. We have 13 full-time police officers right now. 5 of us are eligible for retirement. So this town's going to see new faces through attrition in the upcoming years. Now, we have officers ranging from 1 year on to 18 years on. And this younger, and these are the people who are not eligible for retirement. Us dinosaurs who are eligible have 25 years on, up to 30 years on. My concern is being able to retain the officers who have 5, 10 years on. They are your future leaders of this community. I participated in a pay study this year with the New Hampshire Chiefs of Police Association, along with 69 towns across New Hampshire. And I'm glad that I did this. The result of the study showed that our officers were significantly below the median pay for the state, for the Seacoast, and specifically Rockingham County. So I broke it down, and I don't want to keep you here all night. I just kind of want to give you a little bit of this pay study data. So compared to the 69 towns, Newmarket's officers were 16.89% below the median. Not the bottom, not the top, the median. For towns in Rockingham County, they were 15.84% below the median. And for towns that were considered seacoast towns, of the 11 towns, they were 16.34% below the median. That's the average. And it ranged anywhere from, I have one officer that was close to 25.33% below the median. And that officer has 6 years on the job, 6 years here with Newmarket. This is an officer that we've invested money in. We've trained him. He's very familiar with the town. I'm afraid of losing officers like this. He's the next leaders here, one of the leaders here at the police department. And I think it's incumbent upon the town to retain these officers and secure our investments in them. And I'd be happy to answer any questions as to the contract or any questions regarding the police department at all.
What's the average starting pay for our officers, and what's the starting pay for other officers?
Okay, great question. So the statewide average is $20.98. Currently, we just hired an officer at $18.75. The Rockingham average would be $20.64, and the Seacoast average, which is the pool that we all have to compete with, is $21.59 an hour. So that would be the starting pay. Sir.
How did the increases place us compared to the median?
Well, can't speak about the negotiations, but the theme was to bring the officers to the median. We couldn't get them there overnight. That would be a tough bill to swallow. So we agreed upon a 5-year term to get them to the median.
Do we think the median itself is going to move over that 5-year period?
Of course it will. And, you know, the next chief of police, if it's me, then we'll deal with it then. If it's the next chief after I leave, we'll address that when it happens.
Lou?
In the Seacoast area, is the length of contract average? Is a 5-year contract
It ranges
in the
between-
norm, or are there longer ones out there?
You know, that's a great question, and I think it always depends on how the sea is turning in that community. When the seas are calm, I think you'll see contracts be 3 to 5 years. If it's a community in turmoil, you'll see a 1-year, 2-year contract. Fortunately, we have a police department that has great morale right now, and the seas are calm.
So this is not me trying to frame an argument for or against anything. I'm just curious, what do we feel is the secret to attracting good talent if we're obviously underpaying the market by some margin?
Well, I don't want to get into a theory of generational gaps, but there's a bunch of generational gaps out there that I'm still learning. Right now, it's pay. Mm-hmm. Pay is what attracts employees. When I hire somebody, they sign a contract separate from the collective bargaining agreement with myself for 3 years, that they have to stay here for 3 years because we invest a lot of money into them. It's approximately $90,000 to hire somebody and to train them in the first year with their pay, their benefits, the background investigation, the polygraph examination, the psychological examination, the physical agility test, the medical, the field training, the 16-week police academy, and then followed up by 12 weeks of training after that. You're looking at about 10 months without that officer having any solo assignment. So to get back to your question, I think pay, and then next would be the ability to get advanced training. And we have some highly trained officers. I budget for training every year for their own benefit as well as to reduce the liability of the town. I think any attorney would tell you that documented training is going to reduce your civil liability.
But you see that, I mean, that's the real risk, right? If I'm understanding you correctly, is that we have people joining us in order to get access to that training, but because they then have an opportunity to go somewhere else and get an immediate pay raise. It's like we're essentially funding somebody else's training program if we're not thoughtful about how we compensate people.
Absolutely. So if we can become competitive, if we can get our officers to the median, become competitive and be able to retain them is the ultimate goal for us.
Elizabeth?
Oh, would it be appropriate for you to explain what some of the, when we hire somebody, how much, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what do you have to do to actually get somebody on the force? When we're talking 90,000, 95,000, what does that entail?
So when we hire somebody, we advertise, and then we receive a list from Great Bay Community College that does a Seacoast law enforcement test. We pull off the test. We will send out invitations to people we think might be a good fit for Newmarket. And then we have oral boards, physical agility tests, and then a second round of oral boards, and then a meeting with myself, and then a background investigation. Background investigations can last upwards of a month. And when our background investigation may be a little different than somebody who might have a job at a convenience store or Walmart. We really dig into your past, and we have to. And then once you're hired, you get a conditional offer of employment, you go through a polygraph examination by former Chief Kevin Sear, who does our polygraphs for the town. Then we do a medical examination. Then once they're hired, we have to outfit them with their equipment. Now, we can't recycle uniforms because everybody's body is different. So the cost to outfit one police officer for 4 seasons, to include the duty belt and the body armor and the gun, and it's right around $4,000 just to outfit that officer. Then we'll bring them into field training. So they will be with another field training officer who is answering calls for service, but also dedicating a portion of his time training the younger officer. Once an opening happens at the police academy, we will ship he or she off to the police academy for 16 weeks of training. So and we're paying their salary and their benefits, and they're not even in our town. Fortunately, our officer Annalise Schmidt, who born and raised here in Newmarket and just graduated from Plymouth State University, just graduated the police academy last Friday. I attended the graduation and I was very proud of her. So Annalise right now is in her field training program. She will be here for about 12 weeks in field training. 3 to 4 weeks in field training, and then I will cut her loose for solo assignment.
So am I reading between the lines correctly that it would be uncommon for us to, whether by desire or by ability, to hire a seasoned officer away from another town? We're pretty much always growing them organically from hiring people right out of school?
Sure. It's hard to hire a seasoned officer for $18 an hour, $18.75 an hour. That's just
pretty much right to the question
Sure.
I was driving at. Lou?
Yes, sir.
With this contract, does that allow for expansion of hiring new officers? There's been talk of possibly with the elementary school having an officer up there when the expansion of the elementary school was done, having a resource officer up there as well.
There hasn't been any talk of that at this time. When I was hired, I had a few goals, and one of the goals was I knew that this police contract was coming up. So rather than come to the town fathers and say, I need 2 more bodies and I need a police contract, I'm going to pick and choose my battles.
Sure.
My important goal right now is to retain the officers we have, and then in the future, I'll have that discussion with town administrator as well as the town fathers about hiring of new police officers.
My second question, how many officers are actually from or live in town?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I would say the majority are. Several officers were born and raised here. I'm sure you know quite a few
I know
of
them,
them.
yes. That's
In
why
good
I was
terms.
asking.
In good terms.
In very good terms, yes.
Dave, did you have something?
Yeah, so one of the things that came up a couple years ago before your predecessor retired was with promotions and things like that sometimes promotions, it was actually a pay back, step back versus, does this kind of help address some of that advancement or anything? I mean, I know you can't really discuss the actual contract, but does that help solve a little bit of that as well?
It does. I can tell you that Myself and my 2 lieutenants we're non-exempt employees, meaning we don't work overtime. If we're 80 hours a week, we're 80 hours a
Whatever.
week, our
Yep, I am
paycheck's
too.
going to be the same. Whereas some of the sergeants and the more seasoned officers have the ability to work overtime, and they do make more money than my lieutenants. And that's part of the profession that we chose. So we all knew it going into it, and at some point, those sergeants will be lieutenants and be in the same position.
Okay.
You're not, so you aren't getting a raise, you and your,
No, this is for,
Just a
these
union.
are for non-union, I'm sorry, these are for union employees. This isn't about me or the lieutenants.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
I do appreciate the time to speak on this, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the presentation. If there's any questions from the public?
Yeah, I will open the floor for public comment at this time. Any questions, comments? Ingrid, you've anything?
Here, and I'm feeling well informed. I came to be well informed, and I feel like I'm well informed.
Thank you. In that case, we'll close public comment roughly 30 seconds after opening it. So I believe the correct order is take a motion and then have discussion. So I think, need to take these one at a time. Do I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 2018-2019 town operating budget?
So moved.
Thank you, Dan. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jeff. Just make a note here quickly. All right, open for comment and discussion on the 2018-2019 town operating budget.
Nothing that hasn't been said already.
Yeah, we did discuss it fairly thoroughly, I guess, at the last meeting. All right, hearing no comment. All those in favor of endorsing the town's fiscal year 2018-2019 operating budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are unanimous, 9-0. Can I get a motion on the new police union contract?
So moved.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joan. All right, any questions, comments, discussion of the new police contract?
I think it was a great presentation. I think knowing that in order to, if we lost an officer, we're going to have to spend another 90 to 94,000 to replace that officer. So it's obviously, we've invested money into this community and these citizens, so we need to pay them.
Dan, to build on that, I think too, it's not just the cost of hiring a new police officer. I think you lose continuity. You know, if you think about somebody who grew up here in Newmarket and knows their way around the streets and the faces on the sidewalk, that I think is something you don't get to replace just through training alone. So it seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that. We've got a pretty good thing going with all of our town employees in general, and, it's
I have a question.
worth investing in. Yes, Joe?
If this particular contract, something happens with the economy in the local area, and the median is moving away faster than we may have anticipated, is this contract set in stone, or can it be increased in order to keep us competitive with the other towns?
It is a 5-year agreement, so the only way it would reopen is if both parties agreed to it.
Okay.
So if there was some major issue that we could always, they could ask, or we could ask to reopen the agreement. So.
Okay.
Dave?
I think this, as well as some other things that we'll have to deal with in the town, is, I'm just going to say, long overdue. I think that the police force we've had here, I think we're underpaid compared to some of the seacoast. I also think we're better than some of the other that are around here. And, you get what you pay for. So I think that this is long overdue. This may be the first step, but I think there's some other things, whether it's the teacher's contract or coming up. The Seacoast area, we have been grossly underpaying our people for a long time. And I'm glad to see that we're starting to take steps to remediate that problem.
If I may.
Yes.
Just to go along with that all the town, put this caveat in, all the town employees are very hardworking and great employees. When I first got here 5 years ago, the former chief, I asked, they go, there's other communities of the same size, same demographics, same economic base, and they have a lot more turnover of their police officers, the issue of the training ground, and we just didn't. And it's because of the fact that the officers enjoy working here. And I wouldn't want to lose them because of the money factor if they actually enjoy doing the job here. And that's one of the biggest concerns I would have also with the agreement, or if it didn't go into effect, is that we would, as the chief said, we would lose these officers, not for, because we're just a training ground, but and they enjoy being here. And I wouldn't want to lose an employee that enjoys being here and likes to come to work every day. So.
Thank you.
The longer they're all together, the more of a team they are, and
Right.
the more they work together. And whenever you take team members out of a team, then you're starting all over again. So the more you can keep them together, and the homegrown factor, the more you homegrow people, I mean, you're invested in them and they're invested in you. And it's due time. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, I have a motion from Elizabeth and a second from Joan that we endorse the police union contract. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are unanimous, 9-0. All right, moving on then. Our next scheduled meeting is Monday night, January the 8th. For anyone who is watching at home who might be a regular reader of Foster's, somebody from the SAU emailed me today, and I think they mistakenly asked Foster's to notice that the public hearing on the school budget would be December the 27th, which I don't even know if we're all here on that date, but anyway, we discussed several times doing that hearing on January the 8th, so I've asked the SAU if possible to get that clarified and corrected in there. That will be our next meeting, January the 8th, to hold the public hearing on the school operating budget for fiscal year 18-19. And at that time, like I said, we'll also vote on the minutes or adopt the minutes from both the prior meeting and this meeting. Hopefully, we'll have both of them by that time. So that said, does anybody have any other business to bring to the committee? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Thank you, Elizabeth. Second. Thank you, Dave. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are unanimous. Thank you, everybody.